I think it's going to be something that is going to be fantastic for industry and for industry stakeholders. I'm talking about clients, the community and other groups, because of the value that it will add in all the processes that businesses have to be involved with. So I think it's a really good thing.
We see this really as an investment in the future of the next generation of personnel engaged in the compliance and the conformity assessment arena.
The program that you're developing, the program that Standards Australia has, and others that we hope will be in the pipeline in the future, basically create a framework that allows young compliance professionals to learn rapidly about standards, about conformity assessment.
The new JAS-ANZ Futures Program is actually a real good initiative to bring skills into New Zealand and upskill staff in areas of compliance and competence.
When I saw my job advertised 4.5 months ago, I had never heard of JAS-ANZ or conformity assessment, and when I read the job advertisement, I'm like, wow, this was the obvious next step in my career, and I was really excited about the opportunity, being able to use my past experience and knowledge and develop that. So I feel that this program is definitely creating that link.
I think it gives them a very good perspective on the importance and role of both accreditation and certification, and those are two very different things. Industry values certification because it is an alternative form of regulation. And so by getting that in front of young people, that means that they can learn the right way of how those systems operate very early in their career.
For young industry people interested in participating in the program, I think it offers, for example, employment opportunities in the companies that I represent, but also it increases their knowledge base, so it just broadens their expertise in the whole field of accreditation and certification. The
JAS-ANZ program offers to young people really good opportunities to upskill, and it creates a future career path potential, but it equally makes them much more valuable to their employers.
I think you're going to see people who are involved in management positions because they need to understand compliance and certification and the way standards are developed, but also people in operational positions as well. They are going to be involved in the nitty-gritty of what goes on, and as they move through a continuum from the factory floor upwards, the more knowledge they have of the landscape in which their business is operating, the better.
The type of roles I think I would see participants engaged in would be the compliance and enforcement areas or divisions of our companies. So all of our seasoned members are subject to an array of regulatory requirements to supply the Australian market, and a lot of those regulatory arrangements require testing and certification of products. So it's very important to seasoned members to have some expertise in this area.
So we see engineers, we see people in marketing, we see people in research and development, but ultimately they are all involved in some way, shape or form with compliance, either with standards or with regulation.
Particular industries would be the electronics industries, engineering type areas, anywhere where there's compliance in relation to both New Zealand and Australian standards.
There's, I think, a very wide range of industries that the Futures Program will be relevant for. And that goes from areas such as medical technology, through to ICT, through to construction and infrastructure, logistics. A whole range of different industries are going to benefit from that program.
I think the program will be of substantial benefit to seasoned member companies because our companies nowadays are increasingly reliant on accreditation and certification and conformity assessment in demonstrating confidence that their products meet the regulatory requirements.
Well, the benefit for any employer really comes back to risk management, that if your staff fully understand regulation, they understand certification, and understand the processes that go with it, then ultimately, at the end of the day, you are going to be more likely to be putting compliant products on the market.
Look, our member companies in the MA should look at this as an opportunity to upskill, to provide a future career path for those staff.
Well, the key learning outcome, I guess, is understanding the engine room of certification and accreditation. They understand how it should work, and so that in their professional lives, when they are coming across it, they understand what a certificate looks like, they understand what should be on it, they understand the processes that are behind it, which puts them in a much stronger position when they're dealing with manufacturers and suppliers.
Yeah, I believe the program will get them excited about accreditation, certification, and understand what it's all about. It's a 4-month intensive program, and I think it gives them a really good overview.
Organisations to survive and be sustainable through the next few decades are going to need to be in a position where the people who work for them are able to identify the key issues that are coming in terms of what's happening in markets. They need to understand the commercial and other realities of what's happening, and also look at those and provide input and valued input to their organisations in terms of strategic direction. So doing the JAS-ANZ program really adds a lot of value to people in terms of developing those skills, and it makes them much more valuable as employees.
I think the key learning outcomes for participants in this program, I think, will be an increased knowledge. First of all, it'll be an understanding of JAS-ANZ and how JAS-ANZ operates, but also increased knowledge and expertise in the whole field of accreditation, certification and conformity assessment.